Guys, we're going to do another chapter 1 video focusing on section 3 in our book if you're following along in the same book as us in class. And we're just going to work more on distributive property because it can get complicated and it can get challenging for a lot of students. So I want you to feel like you really have it down. So the big essential question today is, how can I use distributive property to solve complicated equations? And we're just going to try some more challenging ones and make sure you're starting to feel a little more confident with your skills. So let's do an example. Let's do a problem of a more complicated distributive property. So here's a great example. We're going to solve for x, and our equation is negative 2x equals negative 4 parentheses 2x plus 4 minus 2x. I'm going to read that again. Negative 2x equals negative 4 parentheses 2x plus 4 minus 2x. Some teachers, when they talk about parentheses, they use the word quantity. So I could have read this out loud. When I read the equation, I could have said negative 2x equals negative 4 quantity 2x plus 4 minus 2x. And quantity is another way of saying, hey, we've got this group. It's in a parenthesis. It's a quantity. It's just another way of saying the problem. But if I say that in class ever, I want you to be like, oh yeah, I remember. The word quantity is another way of saying the parentheses. We're going to try this problem. I'm going to make some more space on the screen here. I'm going to put a line down the equal sign. And when I see that parenthesis, or that quantity, I know distributive property is the first thing I need to do. So I'm going to take that negative 4 and I'm going to multiply it inside the parentheses. I'm going to do negative 4 times 2x and negative 4 times plus 4. So negative 4 times 2x is going to be a negative 8x, because 4 times 2 is 8. And a negative 4 times a 4 is going to be 16, but it'd be minus 16 because of the negative sign. So we did our distributive property, but we still have that minus 2x on the end. And on the other side, we still have equals negative 2x. We haven't done anything to the ends of this problem. Now what do I want to do? Well, I want the x's together. I want to isolate the variable. So you can do this lots of different ways. I'm going to go with doing this. I'm going to add the 8x first. I'm going to move 8x to the other side. So if I add the 8x, it'll move it. It'll get rid of it. And negative 2x plus 8, well, let's see, 8 take away 2 is 6, so it'd be 6x's. So 6x equals, and on the other side, negative 16 take away 2x. Okay, we're going to go from there. So let's move the 2x over. Let's add the 2x to the other side. I'm trying to get all the x's to the left. So 6x plus 2x is going to be 8x. And all we have left is that minus 16, negative 16. So we're almost done. All we got to do is get rid of the 8. So 8x means 8 times x, so we're going to divide the 8 away with a fraction. Divide the 8 from the left, divide it from the right. X is going to be negative 16 divided by 8. Now negative divided by a positive is a negative, and 16 divided by 8 is 2, so we get negative 2, and that's our solution. And if you wanted to, we could kind of go a little farther with this. Just for our notes, our Cornell notes, I think it's kind of nice. I'm going to move this problem over. We could have, each step of the way, labeled our properties. Like for instance, at the very beginning when we did the arrows, that was distributive property. So we can actually write that down and label it. When we added the 8x, that was the addition property, because we're adding the left and the right side. So addition property of equality. When we added the 2x, it's the addition property again. Addition property of equality happened again. And then the last step, when we divided by 8, that's the division property of equality. So it looks like we used 1, 2, 3, 4 properties. So a lot of teachers would say, hey, this was a 4-step problem. And for a typical 7th grader is supposed to master 2 steps. An 8th grader usually can do 2 and 3 steps. But by the time you get to 9th grade algebra, you should be able to do 4 or more steps to solve an equation. So this is a great example of a 4-step problem. All right, so best way to get better at these is to try them. So we're going to do some you try problems now. I'm going to give you some questions and you're going to try to solve them on your own by pausing your device and working out the problem and then checking your answer. I find this is the best way to study and improve upon yourself. So we're going to try our first problem here. I'm going to label it letter A because we're going to do a couple of these. So here is your first problem. It is 5p take away 16 equals negative 3p plus 5 quantity p minus 2. Go ahead and hit the pause button on your device and see if you can do this one on your own. Okay, are you ready to check your answer? Did you finish? Let's do it. So first process, line down the equal sign. parentheses tell me we've got distributive property, so that's the first thing I'm going to tackle. I'm going to multiply the 5 inside. 5 times p is 5p. 5 times minus 2 is minus 10. So that should be your first step. But then we still have everything to the left. So we still have 5p, take away 16 equals negative 3p. Now we got to get those variables all piled up on the left or the right side. It actually doesn't matter. I'm going to go left on this one. I'm going to add the 3p over. I'm going to get rid of it. 5p plus 3p is going to give me 8p. So I have 8p take away 16. And then what's left on the other side? Well, I still have 5p take away 10. Okay, so let's go from there. Let's take the 5p away. I'm trying to move that variable p over. 8 take away 5 is 3. So we're going to have 3p minus 16. And then what's left on the other side? Well, we still have a minus 10, so it's a negative 10. Don't forget that negative sign. And now I get to add the 16 over, start combining some numbers. Negative 10 plus 16 would be 6. So we're going to have 3p equals 6. And we're almost done. What do we do with the 3? We divide. So divide that 3. It's kind of a nice answer. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So you get p equals 2. How did you do? Did you get the same thing as me? Did you make any mistakes? Because if you did, I would pause the video and go back and kind of look through what was the mistake you made, because you don't want to do it again. You want to fix that mistake and kind of mentally make a note to yourself. So go look for that if you did. Okay, we're going to try another one, another you try. I'm going to call this letter B. Here's your next you try problem. This time you're going to solve for W. And the question is negative 9 plus 3W equals 1, take away 5, quantity 4W plus 2. Again, hit the pause button on your device. See if you can do this on your own. Okay, we're going to check answers. Are you unpausing your device now? Or are you ready to see if you got the right solution for W? If you're not done, pause it, and make sure you get all your work done first. Okay, so line down the equal sign. Do not fall for the trap. Don't do 1, take away 5. It's distributive property first every time. You need to draw the arrows and multiply that minus 5 inside. So since it's a minus 5, when you multiply it by 4W, you get minus 20W. And because it's a minus 5 times 2, you get minus 10. Then you can put that 1 that's just sitting there out in front. And the equals negative 9 plus 3W. But that should be your first step, so really carefully check your first step. And then it's just, let's get the W's together. So I think I'm going to add the 20W over. 3 plus 20 will make it 23W. So I'm going to have negative 9 plus 23W. What's left on the other side? I still have the 1, and I still have the minus 10. So I have 1 minus 10. But if I combine that, 1 take away 10 is negative 9. So we're getting closer. We have negative 9 plus 23W equals negative 9. I guess I'm going to add the 9 over to the other side. In doing so, look what happens. You add the 9 over and you get 23W equals negative 9 plus 9. Well, that's 0, so you get equals 0. But we're not done yet. We still have to finish solving. We have to get rid of the 23. So what do? We divide. Divide the 23 away. Well, what is 0 divided by 23? Or what is 0 divided by anything? Like if I tell you I have 0 apples, divide it into 10 groups. You can't. You don't have any apples. Or if I say I have 0 pencils, divide it into 23 groups. You can't divide 0 pencils. You don't have any pencils. You don't have any apples. I'm just making up items. I don't know why I'm picking pencils and apples, but if you have 0 of something, you can't make any groups. So when you go to divide, the answer is 0. It's nothing. So W equals 0 is your answer. And a lot of people think that this is a no solution. Don't fall for that trap. The W didn't disappear. It's still there. It's W equals 0. It's an answer. 0 is just a number. No solutions only happen when there's no more variables, when the W completely goes out of the problem and you just have numbers on the left and right. That's not the case. This is not a no solution problem. And a lot of people think it is, so you gotta be careful about that. How did you do? Did you get that one right? Did you make any mistakes? Look over your work and check. We're going to do one more of these, you guys, because it's really good practice. So we're going to do another you try. This time I'm going to call it letter C. And for this one, we are going to solve for x. Here is your setup. You have negative 5 parentheses x minus 4 equals 18 take away 5x. Go ahead for the last time, hit that pause button on your device and see what you get for this one. Give it your best shot. Thanks. Okay, are you unpausing your device? Are you ready to check? Because that's what we're going to do next. We are going to check our answer. So let's see, we've got definitely parentheses, definitely distributive property. So we're going to do -5 arrowed into the parentheses. -5 times x is -5x. -5 times a -4 becomes a +20. You gotta be careful about that. And it equals the whole 18 take away 5x. Let's get the x's together. Let's isolate the variable. So let's add the 5x to the other side. Here's where it gets weird. When you add the 5x to the other side, well, look what happens. -5 plus 5 cancels out. This is where the variables go away. There are no more x's. All we have is 20 equals 18. And 20 doesn't equal 18. That doesn't make any sense. This is where you're like, oh, slash through the equal sign doesn't make any sense at all. Some of you, when you did this yourself, you might have took the 18 away from both sides and gone even farther with this. If you did, then you ended up getting like 2 equals 0. That still doesn't make any sense. Either way, however you did this. So the answer is, what is x? We're supposed to be solving for x. Well, x is gone, and the answer doesn't make sense. So x is what we call no solution. This is a no solution problem. And I really want you to write your answers like this: x equals no solution. I think that's really crucial, that you're showing like there is no answer for x. There's no way to check my answer even. If I tried to check any numbers, they would all fail. None of my checks would pass. Okay guys, so just kind of a quick video here, mostly just practicing solving equations. I hope you're feeling a little more confident in your skills. And if you're not, don't forget, you can always come get help from me before or after class, like in the mornings or after school. So don't forget you can do that. And I hope this made sense and you're feeling better. All right, thanks guys. Have a good day. Bye.